All right, I'm here with Griff Green. He's one of the incredible builders in the Ethereum space. He's the founder of Giveth and also the DAO Security Fund
Yeah,
and DApp Node.
yeah.
So some really cool stuff that you've made. And we're here at ETH Boulder, and I'm just curious to say, what brings you here? Why do you like this conference?
Well, I'm deep in the public goods funding space and actually work a lot with Gitcoin. It's kind of the Gitcoin conference in many ways,
Okay.
and like all my friends are here.
Okay.
It's
And
like
where are you from? Where do you live?
I've been nomadic since 2011.
Okay.
So, but I'm from the state of Washington.
Okay, got it. And so, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yes, well, it's just all my friends are here.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's pretty cool because it's a smaller conference. I don't know how many people are here, but I know like all of them. It's like totally my crew. So it's almost just like hanging out with my friends, watching them give talks and just like talking shop.
And what would you say if there was a particular focus on the content or the message of this conference? What would that be?
Well, so far AI is eating the world, right? So like all the interesting stuff is kind of AI focused, even though it's a blockchain conference. Public goods funding is also a huge aspect of it. And then Ethereum localism. How do we make Ethereum valuable to Boulder is also a huge focus of this conference, which I think is really cool. Even though I'm not from Boulder, so it doesn't relate as much to me, but the concept of Ethereum localism, I think scales outside of every location. So, what works for Boulder will probably also somehow rhyme with what works for other places. So it's very interesting.
Let's talk about this DAO Security Fund, which
Yeah.
has really been in the news lately,
Yeah.
in kind of quite a positive way, I would say. And you were there at the beginning of the DAO, right?
Yeah.
So just I don't know if you could just tell that story in a short span of time.
Well, yeah, the DAO is a crazy project, right? Like the DAO made me a founder of Ethereum Classic. When the DAO got hacked, there was a hard fork that rescued all the money in the DAO ecosystem, and most of the money was
How much was that?
at the time it was $150 million, right? Depending on the price of Ether, right? So it was about 12 million Ether.
Okay.
Right? Which at today's values is ridiculous.
How much is it today, though?
Man, I don't know. It was 14% of all Ether in existence.
Depends on the day, right?
So 14% of the market cap of Ethereum.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
Billions and
Okay.
billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And not just one or two, like a lot of billions of dollars.
And that has all been where?
So most of it was recovered and actually distributed by the hard fork. So people who had people who had DAO tokens could actually claim the funds and get Ether, 1 Ether for 100 DAO tokens, and that is still active today. But then I led the cleanup effort because the DAO was my project, right? But I wasn't a founder of Slockit, who started the DAO. I was just their first employee, and so I kind of took it upon myself to make sure all the cleanup happened successfully after that.
Okay.
And so there's the white hat.
Responsible of you. Okay.
Yeah, right. Giveth, right?
Okay.
Giving away Ether.
Okay.
Right? I gave away about 14% of all Ether in existence.
Okay.
No, but or at least helped to make that happen. There was the White Hat Group, which actually rescued all the money that it could on the ETC side. So I led that effort, which makes the DAO one of the craziest things that ever happened because everyone got their Ether back, and then they also got Ether Classic.
Yeah.
And so actually everyone in the DAO made money, even the hacker got a bunch of money because he has all the Ether Classic. So very weird story with the DAO. But to get to the DAO Security Fund, about 3% of the funds that was recovered from the hard fork didn't really have clear owners or where it should go. So I led this other team, we call the DAO curators, and we found where all that money should go and distributed it. At the time, it was about $6 million. And to this day, only about 80% of that was claimed. So in 2016 dollars, this is only $1.5 million. But today, even at these depressed Ethereum prices, it's about $150 million.
Wow.
Which is kind of insane because that's how much the DAO raised in the first place. And at the time, the DAO was the largest funded project that ever happened. Right? So this is like kind of ridiculous money. And it was just sitting there in these smart contracts, but it was sitting there in really old contracts that weren't actually safe. So we actually needed to do something with it. Ever since like the AI tooling has come out, there've been a lot of hacks of old protocols.
Okay.
And so it felt like, when we set this up, it was $6 million and we're giving it all away. The security level was a little bit different than $150 million in 10 years later, right? So we needed to upgrade our security, and we found that, well, what we can do is, while we leave all the claims open for the people who haven't claimed this money, we can actually stake that money and earn revenue.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
And we earn so much that it more than pays for the increased security precautions that we need to do. And we have a bunch left over that actually we can use to fund Ethereum security in general. And that was the original.
And so is this through some kind of grants program or?
Exactly.
Okay.
So the way I see the DAO Security Fund is it's kind of the bottom-up funding of Ethereum security, whereas Ethereum Foundation, they have like their perspectives. They're like, this is what needs to be funded to make Ethereum secure, this thing, but it's very top-down. And they have incredible research, and they're doing the right things. But that being said, the wisdom of the crowds has a place to play as well. So the DAO Security Fund is going to do distributions in the DAO way, right? Bottom up to DAO tooling, like quadratic funding, deep funding, retroactive public goods funding, voting on RFPs, this sort of stuff. And we're going to work with the security community to give them a voice so that they can have outside influence, and as well allow the larger community to have a say in what do we fund to make Ethereum more secure.
Well, let's just, real brief, because I want to move on to Giveth, but real brief, the AI obviously has unlocked all sorts of ways for bad guys to attack, but also for defense too.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, in your mind, in the AI realm, what is the biggest security threat in kind of the Ethereum context?
Well, one of the things, it's kind of tangential to this that I'm really concerned about is the incentives for white hats versus black hats, right? So white hats and black hats both are super powered by AI, right? But if a white hat uses AI to find a vulnerability in some old contracts, and they go to the project and they're like, hey, I found this vulnerability. Maybe they'll get 10K like kicked down to them from the project. Maybe they'll get nothing. Maybe they'll get 100K. Probably not though. So it's kind of this big gamble. Whereas let's say there's $5 million at risk. If a black hat finds it, well, they get $5 million. And even if they have to pay $4 million to launder it, they get $1 million, right? Whereas the white hat has to gamble for 10K or maybe nothing after they do all this work to find the vulnerability. So that
there's the gray hats too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing. I think a lot of white hats would stay white hats and not gray hats if they actually had real incentives.
Okay, yeah.
And Ethereum has a lot of incentive to build this network of white hats, and because we have a network of black hats, we have North Korea has a network of black hats. They're funding their nuclear program by hacking crypto projects. So there's all these black hats with all the incentive in the world, but most of the Ethereum community are white hats. They just don't have an incentive to play. Now with AI in everyone's pockets, if we can actually find a way to incentivize white hats to hack ethically and give them a little bit of money for their time, we can have like a decentralized network of security researchers protecting our entire ecosystem.
Yeah. Okay. We haven't had much time to talk about Giveth, but I think we need to wrap it up soon. But just tell us very quickly, what is this project Giveth, and what is the essence of it in like a minute or two?
Yeah, well, Giveth has been focusing on actually bringing real nonprofits into the crypto ecosystem. Crypto and especially just the nonprofit ecosystem could benefit a lot from using blockchain technology. Borderless transfers, very frictionless, moving money throughout borders to where it needs to be directly within seconds. Not to mention the transparency that's provided. There's a lot of talk about privacy, and we need to fix the public nature of blockchains to make them more private for, the fintech companies. But for nonprofits, this is a feature, right? You can see exactly where the money goes, and the transparency is a huge value add by default, right? And so, but the problem is, I found, because we founded this in 2016, I've been working in onboarding nonprofits for so long, and I've seen all the problems they have actually using this technology. And that's why I'm really focused on the security side, because honestly, I'm sick of seeing nonprofits raise $3,000 and then get phished 3 days later, or send money to the right address on the wrong chain. This technology is not easy for normal people to use right now. And so the mission of Giveth has been to make it accessible to nonprofits. And, I found myself leaning more towards the security space and trying to solve those problems so that we can get there with Giveth.
Yeah. Griff Green, thank you so much. What a fascinating, he's a hugger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Griff Green, thank you very much. Here at East Boulder. That's great.